Well, the wait is over. This is Nintendo DS.
When I was young, the DS made up the majority of my gaming space. Something about other systems just never got my attention like it could. Which led me down the avenue of playing a larger expanse of the console's library than many are acquainted with. While not the most uncommon, one of the many gems I've crossed in my travels is a game called Fossil Fighters. In case you're unfamiliar, Fossil Fighters is a game where, and try to keep up now, you are a fossil fighter. The objective of the game is to clean fossils to revive Venusaurs inside to fight for you. On the island in which this game takes place, you end up on many misadventures such as stopping the BB bandits, reviving a man sent back in time by digging up his fossilized corpse, hip shaking, and a group of hyper-evolved dinosaur people that created the human race and are now hell-bent on taking it down by summoning fish Galactus to eat the Earth. No, I'm not joking, why do you ask? Somehow, in spite of all this, the series not only manages to maintain its ridiculous demeanor, but evolve it into a whole new style of crazy. Welcome to Fossil Fighters Champions. The game opens with our hero, whom I have given the name of Himsky, and his dear friend Todd, wandering through the woods when they're attacked by a Venusaur, only to be saved by the legendary fossil fighter Joe Wild West. And I thought Himsky was a dumb name. He gives us our first Venusaur and we win our first fossil battle, all because Todd got a stomachache and couldn't fight, despite getting the opportunity first. Fast forward 2 years later, Joe is holding a big tournament on his island for fighters to join in battle to decide who is the best, and the winner will inherit the island. Before round 1, we head to our first dig site and encounter the favorite to win it all. Rupert, an egomaniac with a superiority complex and a silver spoon in his mouth. He thinks fossil battles are just a means to an end and having fun is stupid. He's gonna win the whole thing so his dad's company can look good and stuff. Anyways, he beats Todd up, tells him to get good, and we go on with our respective lives. Round 1 of the tournament begins, showing that we're matched against Todd. Guess Rupert won't be the only one embarrassing him today because I have engaged in what some may call cheating. We give Todd a quick slapping to end the round so we can move on to a new area known as the Jungle Labyrinth. We arrive there to find a researcher named Professor Scatterly who needs us to procure his lunch. After doing so, he gives us a history lesson of an ancient wizard with a name that surely isn't culturally insensitive to any groups of people on planet Earth. Once Scatterly is on his way, we venture further into the forest to be warned of a monster lurking in the woods by an Elvis impersonator. Oh, also, Todd's here and he has a stomachache again. Moving further into the woods, we encounter Pauline, a young lady that decides to join us on our search. She wears a strange mask which scares Todd and makes him run away. Upon finding the monster, we get to learn that it was just a machine set up to scare away fighters, so a small group can hoard all of the fossil rocks in the deep woods. We defeat the criminals with the power of cheating and move on to our second round match, which we are informed is against the monkey from Digimon.
Yeah, the concert sensation of the server continent is back. All right, it's Etamon the King.
A little less conversation later, and we have him singing the Jailhouse Rock. On to our next adventure to Mount Krakenak, where we find Rupert testing his company's new robot, Digger, which proceeds to immediately malfunction and turn violent. We go beat the machine in a fossil battle, which reboots its system for some reason. But it's functioning again, I guess. Rupert, as thanks, offers us the first commercially available version of the product, to which we decline, because cheaters never prosper. Upon returning to town, we get into the real meat and potatoes. The villains of this game are at last being introduced. The Bare Bones Brigade and their leader, Don Boneyard, have stolen a giant flying TV and announced their goal to force the cancellation of the tournament. Guess it's just potatoes in this plot. Thank you. So we go back to the mountain to see that they have blocked off the path forward. Rupert has Digger start breaking away the giant rock as our pickaxes aren't good enough. After some progress, Digger announces his battery is running low. Having forgotten how ineffective we were 5 seconds ago, we start attempting to help him. He declares nobody's ever attempted to help him before, and he now understands why the power of friendship is so important. This results in his battery getting charged up like a spirit bomb. Yeah, last I checked, that's not how batteries work. Now that we've gone to the trouble of clearing the rock out of the way, Todd declares he ate mayonnaise that was sitting in the sun, so we proceed to track down the Bare Bones Brigade members that set up the boulder without him. They show us their bonysaurs, which are no different from regular Venusaurs. which are no different from regular Venusaurs besides aesthetically as far as I'm concerned. We dispatch them easily and move forward to round 3 against a random little girl. After vanquishing this fearsome foe, we unlock Rainbow Canyon, which upon visiting we run into a girl and a dog. The girl introduces herself as Joni and her dog is Madame Pooch. They're fawning over a bowl they found and filled with fruit. After a brief interaction, we go our separate ways and use the gondola to get to the bottom of the canyon. Once there, we encounter Pauline again, who needs help recovering her mask that fixes her speech impediment. If only we had just been informed of some round, fancy object that may be vaguely bowl-shaped. After watching an episode of Dora the Explorer to get into a puzzle-solving mindset, I recall our interaction with Joni and go to confront her. Once we explain the situation, she declares finders keepers and says we'll have to fight her for it. I, being the chivalrous individual I am, suggest we make our dinosaurs fight instead. Upon our recovery of the mask, we learn that the Barebones Brigade is back at it again and is kidnapping women. We rush to where we last saw Pauline to see that she is being actively abducted. We chase down the goons to their hideout and see the results of their dastardly plan. They've been abducting women to simp over them as hard as humanly possible, in hopes that they'll decide to forget about the tournament. This strategy is surprisingly effective. So remember fellas, if you simp for your favorite VTuber long enough, eventually she will love you. We head to the back of the hideout and encounter their leader, who looks exactly like the type of individual that would come up with this. Upon defeating him, we return Pauline's mask to her, and when the park's security arrives to take the Barebones members, Pauline decides to tuxedo mask us and take all of the credit. We take the L and move on to round 4, which happens to be against a purple-haired VTuber we met in the Barebones hideout. She says when she wins that we should buy her a drink, but unlike those goons, we're no simps, so we absolutely obliterate her team of the exact same dinosaur 3 times. Now that the round is over, it appears we've gotten the attention of Joe Wild West, who requests we meet him in his office. Once there, he announces that he'd like Todd, Pauline, and our hero to form a patrol team in order to keep an eye on suspicious activity. Our first mission is to locate a missing princess. The man posing this request shows us a photograph of Joni and offers a miraculous fossil rock as a reward, which I definitely haven't cheated in many of already. We agree anyways and go wandering the woods to find her and bring her back. Upon our return, we learn that Madame Pooch is the actual princess because their kingdom is ruled by dogs. With the new revelation that Madame Pooch is actually Princess Pooch, the man announces that he has been given permission to let her stay, should he determine her desire to fossil battle is truly her passion in life. They leave for now and we learn that the hot spring on a new island is open, so we go to check it out. Upon arrival, Todd jumps right in, and right as we're about to join him, the water turns into grape jelly. We fail to save Todd, and so we get this island's staff leader to show him the situation. He attempts to help and declares that Todd is stuck, like a kid, in jelly, proving why he's in a position of leadership. We're informed that the hot water source comes from the volcano we visited previously. Upon journeying there, we encounter Rupert, who decides to help us. We find the water source and see another leader of the Barebones Brigade has created a machine that is causing the jelly problem. He declares his evil plan is to force victims to eat their way out of the jelly so they become too fat to compete in the cup. Poor logic aside, we beat him up anyway, break his machine, and save the day. Once our patrol team gets back together, it is decided that Rupert should join us. He accepts happily at first, but upon his father seeing the celebration and scolding him, he instead declines. Rupert leaves after trauma dumping on us, and we get an announcement that round 5 of the cup is underway. We're matched against Princess Pooch, so we proceed to the arena. We play exactly 1 turn of the fight before the game decides to win for us, and so we remind Princess Pooch that all dogs go to heaven. The next locale opens up and we find ourselves venturing to the Ice Grip Plateau. Joe sends us to look for thieves who have stolen the main power supply of all the facilities across the 3 islands. We learn that the Barebones Brigade is yet again behind this, to nobody's surprise. We and Pauline find ourselves in a 2v3 against their squad, until Rupert arrives to assist us. We make quick work of our opponents, only to become the protagonists of Moby Dick 2. We awake inside a gigantic whale and meet Robinson, a man who has been stranded here for 10 years. He introduces us to Bolivar, a ball that he drew a face on so he could have a friend. That's right, I don't even have to make a dumb reference joke here because the game did it for me. Anyways, we're informed that we may be able to escape if we can defeat Lord Tonzilla. Yeah, we're fighting a literal tonsil. We successfully give the whale a tonsillectomy and escape. The Barebones members give back the energy sources since we saved their lives, and we return them to Joe. Rupert officially becomes part of the team, deciding to defy his dad's wishes. Pauline sees we're doing character development now, and decides that it's time she gives up her mask. Hey, do you remember Goosebumps books? Well, surprise, this is that now. Pauline runs away, and we track her down to defeat the haunted mask with the power of love. And dinosaurs. The semifinals get announced after this, and we're slated to go up against Pauline again. She attempts to throw off our game by saying nice things before the fight, but fortunately, we, dear viewer, are not so easily fooled. After the fight, we learn Rupert will be our opponent in the finals. The next locale we unlock is called the Dusty Dunes. We travel there and encounter Professor Scatterly yet again. We dig up a slate for him after giving him some water. He reads us the history written on the slate and moves on. We leave the dunes only to immediately feel the rumblings of an earthquake. Don Boneyard appears again with his stolen TV and announces that he's going to sink the islands, which tickles his funny bone. This leads us to meet up with Joe and our fellow patrol team members to discuss a plan. Scatterly arrives and informs us all that each island is held up by a spinal column, adding that the Barebones Brigade must be damaging these columns to sink each one. We're told if we get the calcium from the DNA of a Sardinosaurus, we can stop their plan. We procure the fossil necessary and head to the depths to locate the columns. Rupert takes one, Pauline takes one, and we take one. All while Todd tickles a fish, as he is apparently really good at it. We're met by a BB admin, whom we quickly defeat and inject the spine with the Sardinosaurus DNA, causing it to grow back immediately with some anime-level instant regeneration. When we return to Joe, he informs us that the BBs fled back to their base, allowing themselves to be tracked by mistake. Their hideout is located in a place called Bone Chip Island, which apparently nobody thought to check before. Alas, we head there, and Todd's latest stomachache leaves us alone to face a small gauntlet of the two BB admins we didn't fight, and Don Boneyard himself. The Don seems to recognize us, even calling us by name and declaring he didn't know we were in the tournament, but also that we shouldn't trust the current Joe. Whatever that means, he vanishes in a cloud of smoke and we've won the day. Next up, we get ready for our battle with Rupert, only to, at the last second, be told something is wrong. Rupert's dad wants him to drop out of the tournament because he calculates Rupert only has a 50% chance of winning, and his loss would look bad on their company. Let's be real, 50% is a pretty big stretch, but Rupert wants to compete anyways because he wants to have fun. His dad declares that having fun is stupid and the company needs to look good and stuff. We arrive, and Rupert's dad, to prove his point, challenges Rupert and ourselves to a fossil battle at the same time, using a supercomputer to manage two battles at once. He proudly declares our chances are only 5%. We prove that he's terrible at math, and Rupert convinces him that fun might not be so stupid after all. Rupert is now allowed to compete, so we go battle him and see that his team is all water. Yeah, 50% was pretty generous. At least his boss looks cool. We beat him and are invited to a private meeting with Joe. We bring Todd along with us, and Joe tells us he wants to regale us with the story of the mysterious ancient sorcerer called Zonga Zonga. Todd informs him that we've heard the story before, so Joe says there's more to the story, that after Zonga Zonga was sealed away, many, many years later, some poor soul freed him and lost their body to his clutches. That man was Joe Wild West, and the man standing before us is Zonga Zonga inhabiting his body. He informs us that the entire reason he held the tournament was to find a more fitting vessel because Joe is old, stinky, and has a dumb voice. Before he can steal our body, the wall next to us is destroyed, and we find ourselves in a familiar rescue. We hop on the Boneysaur sent to save us and are brought back to the Barebones base. Don Boneyard's skull is there and informs us that he is in fact the real Joe, reduced to a skull by Zonga Zonga's replacement of it. This real Joe tried getting the cup cancelled knowing the nefarious plot behind it. He tells us to leave as he unfortunately has no knowledge of how to defeat our enemy. We inform Joe that we are in fact the protagonist and must defeat evil. So we go to speak to Professor Scatterleaf for assistance. Our chat with him is interrupted by an announcement. Zonga Joe is outing us as a cheater and wants us captured. How the hell did he find out? Rupert and Pauline believe us for some reason and join our cause along with Todd, who declares he is done running away from danger, and proves it by taking on all 3 staff leaders at once to let us get away. Our crew heads back to the BB base to gather our thoughts, and we end up deciding to return to the temple where Zonga Zonga was found. Once there, we find out that an ancient civilization created a mighty weapon to defeat Zonga Zonga and seal him away long ago. In order to procure this legendary artifact, we must defeat a Guardian. This Guardian has about as much strategy as Rupert with a team made entirely of fire Venusaurs. We defeat it and acquire the key to our victory. Before we can face Zonga Zonga though, Todd stops us at the elevator. He says he knows we never liked him and we're making fun of him after round 1, which is entirely correct, it do be like that. Oh wait, he was possessed by some magic and is fine after we beat him. We'll just keep that one to ourselves. Now we face Zonga Zonga, defeat him in battle, and finally get to take our shot at him. We pull out our legendary weapon, a power with no equal. Something so strong it can defeat the almighty magic of a sorcerer that dominated an entire society. Our giant, squeaky hammer. We strike with no fear and free Joe's body. The skull of Zonga Zonga is still active, however, and expertly evades our clutches, being chased down by Rupert. He retrieves the skull and gives it to us to return to the temple. We get there, and just as we're about to seal it away, it starts moving. It escapes our clutches and informs us that it is not Zonga Zonga, but Rupert. Our journey isn't over yet. We track down Zonga Rupert and he summons a castle from the sea, which he flies away on. The castle is unreachable by any form of flight due to a gigantic storm forming around it. We have the idea to use a gigantic gun and shoot ourselves over to the castle. Rupert's dad, wanting to save his son because he doesn't want to be a neglectful father anymore, agrees to modify one for us. The Barebones admins chip in too, still loyal to Joe in spite of his ruse because he was the first to take a chance on them. We're fired to the island along with Rupert, who stowed away in our pocket. Side note, we stash skulls in our pockets a lot during this post-final segment, and the game makes a point of informing us every single time that they feel lumpy. Anywho, we arrive at the castle and Zonga Zonga attacks us with some zombie Venusaurs. We defeat the first wave, at which point he realizes he underestimated us, and turns himself into a Venusaur to challenge us. Apparently he could have just done this at any point he wanted. Don't know what the tournament was for. So we fight. And as a kid I really struggled with this fight, but with my adult brain and broken guys, Zonga Zonga lands exactly one attack before going down. He returns to being a skull and Rupert takes his body back. Zonga Zonga cannot fathom how we could defeat him so easily, and so Rupert tells him that we won with the power of love and friendship. Zonga Zonga does not understand these concepts, and so he literally explodes. Our friends show up to save us from the collapsing castle and we return to Joe. He sets up a broadcast and officially congratulates us on saving the world, offering to make good on not his promise and give us the island. We decline, deciding Joe should stay in charge to keep offering others the dream he gave us those years ago. So with the island remaining in his hands, he announces a second tournament to make up for his schemes to ruin the first one. The credits roll and the journey of Fossil Fighters champions comes to a close. Hey, if you managed to stick around to the end, I think that's really cool, and I just wanted to throw out there that I've got a lot more ideas in the works, and I'm definitely planning to execute on those. So if you liked what you saw, stay tuned.